Hello, all you aspiring pilots out there. I am coming to you from beautiful North Carolina today. It's a beautiful day, so I thought I'd do this video outdoors where it's absolutely beautiful. Today I want to talk to you about how to select a good flight school and what the difference is between a Part 141 flight school and a Part 61 flight school. I know that that's a big question and there are some differences, so we'll go over that, and then we'll also go over, I've got some notes here on some things to look for when you're looking at selecting a flight school. So let's talk about the difference between 141 and Part 61 flight schools. So if you are looking to be a career pilot, I would recommend you look at 141 flight schools. I'm not saying you have to attend one, but if you're looking to be a career pilot, please check into those as well. The difference is Part 61 flight schools are they don't really have a strictly defined curriculum. They are going to meet the requirements that are designated by the federal aviation regulations of things that you have to meet in order to achieve each license. And they're still going to do that, but there's a little bit less structure there. A lot of times some of the very smaller, maybe mom and pop Part 61 flight schools, which I went to myself for my private pilot's license, nothing bad about those. But I could say that training from that particular flight school didn't necessarily prepare me to be a professional pilot. Gave me some amazing training, but I then switched to a 141 flight school to continue my training, and that experience was very different. They have a defined curriculum that they make for the school, and it is submitted to the FAA for approval. Most of these 141 curriculums, their goal is you're going to be flying very frequently, very consistently to be able to be in the program. So there's going to be some requirements on you. You've got to fly, pretty consistently in these courses, which I'm hoping you want to do since you want to hurry up and get done. The more lessons you take, if you take 1 to 2 lessons every day, the quicker you are going to progress and get those certificates done. So a 141 curriculum is a little bit more fast-paced, more intense, and the benefit is there is a financial benefit. You can achieve some of your ratings and licenses with a little bit lower total flight time than you would need in a Part 61 school. So they give them a little bit of cut on the hours because they have this pretty rigorous curriculum that they offer. Usually those curriculums are also built more to include things that prepare you for professional pilots. So there may be some extra stuff in there that isn't necessarily defined in Part 61 for you to be trained on. So I think there are some benefits to flying in a 141 flight school, especially if you're going to be a professional pilot. Now, if you just want to be a general aviation pilot and fly around and have fun, Part 61 is perfectly fine. So that's the difference. 141 has a very structured curriculum. 61, it doesn't. It's just kind of, go at your pace if you want to go that route. 61 is more, like I said, for general aviation pilots. I'm not going to say that if you do your entire training under Part 61 that you're going to be any less qualified or less trained than someone that goes Part 141, but the 141 is more geared towards career pilot programs. So let's talk about things to look for when you are looking at a flight school. So do your research. Now, I know some of you might be limited by not wanting to relocate right now for flight training. So maybe your options are limited to the local flight schools in your area. But please do your research and investigate the school. And here are some things to look at when you're doing that. First thing is look up the history of the school. Look up their safety record. Okay, so look at their condition of the aircraft and equipment. Take a tour of the school. Make sure that you go on site, ask all the questions. Look at their equipment. What kind of equipment do they have? What are the condition of the aircraft? Are their aircraft equipped with modern avionics, such as the G1000 aircraft? Or do they still use the round dial, as we call it, or the non-glass cockpit aircraft? I would say that the going forward, technology is the way to go. So even if you don't do all of your training in a G1000 aircraft, I would highly recommend you get some exposure to it during your training. Maybe your instrument rating would be a really good one to do in a G1000 aircraft. So take a good look at that, the different aircraft types that they fly. A lot of flight schools maybe have multiple types in their fleet. Some just have one type of aircraft. Maybe they're branded by Cirrus or Cessna, and so they offer that type of aircraft only. So take a look at that, see what you want to fly, see what their equipment is. Talk to the instructors if you can while you're there. Maybe go hang out at the flight school for a day. Get the feel for the culture on campus. Does it fit you? Cultures are different at every campus. You could have a flight school that has many branches, and the culture might be different at each one. So see if that fits for you. And talk to the instructors. I think something that is really important as well is to have a good instructor match. Something as simple as a personality conflict can be a detriment to your training. You're there to learn, and you're there to absorb everything that you can during those lessons. So if you have an instructor that maybe you guys just clash, I mean, hey, not all personalities get along with each other, so do not be shy to ask to switch instructors if you find that you guys just clash. It happens. It happens all the time. So, find someone that's a good fit for you and for your learning style. Remember, this is about you getting the best flight training that you can. So ask for a different instructor. Compare costs to other schools. So like I said, maybe your choices are limited because you want to train locally where you are now. Relocating isn't something that you want to do. Now, some flight schools do offer housing. So if you are looking at relocating, some of the larger ones, they do offer housing for the students as well. So that is something that's an option. But compare cost. I can tell you that the cost can vary greatly from school to school, region of the country, all of those things. And I'm sorry, my dogs are out here with me. So if you hear their noises, I sincerely apologize. But compare the cost. This stuff is expensive, so make sure you're getting the best quality for the money that you're able to spend. Another thing that you might want to ask is, do they offer financing? So I know that finding money to learn how to fly can be very difficult at times. And there are flight schools that do offer financing. So if that's something you need, that may kind of narrow down your choices as well. If you are a veteran seeking flight training, ask if they're VA approved. A lot of schools are VA approved to where you can use your VA loans to train there. So ask that if you're someone in that situation. And then the other factor I would definitely tell you to factor in is location. Now that can vary because of weather. So if you have the opportunity that you're gonna pick a flight school where you want, I would suggest somewhere with really good weather. Florida is great, California is great. I'm in North Carolina. I would call North Carolina maybe medium. My son is flight training right now, and this time of year has not been great. Today's beautiful, but we have had some cancellations due to, you know, winter weather and things like that. So think about the location, because the amount that you're able to fly is very dependent on the weather, and the more you can fly, you're going to maintain your currency. And to be honest with you, and I was a flight instructor for about 10 years, so I feel like I've seen most things as far as flight training goes. And what I did see is that students that only fly a couple times a week usually take more hours, which is more cha-ching, to get finished, because you're spending part of your next lesson trying to remember what you learned on the last. You do forget. And think of flying like your flying skill. You know, there's all the studying that you have to do, but your flying skill is practice. It's just, think of it like a sport. The more you practice it, the better you'll be. And that is definitely going to be important when you get to your check ride. So I would, you know, try to fly as consistently as possible. Daily would be preferable, but understandably, some people are trying to do this and still hold down a full-time job. So that may not be your option, but I highly recommend that you fly as frequently as you can. You're going to progress faster and you're going to save money. So those are just some high points on things to look for in a flight school. Hopefully some of this information has been helpful to helpful to some of you out there. If you have questions and additional things maybe that I didn't cover, put it in the chat to this video and I will try to answer as many of those as I can. I'm happy to help. I have some other videos on my channel that will probably be of great interest to you once you start that pilot journey, you know, once you finish your pilot training and are launching off into your career. So there's some helpful videos there. I hope you have enjoyed this today. Please like and subscribe my channel. I'm sure you will enjoy my content, and I will talk to y'all later. Have a great one.